friends. It is Wednesday night, and you are watching Cosmically Connected with Cortney Kane Sides, your psychic medium and spiritual advisor here on the Forbidden Knowledge Network. I'm so excited you guys are with me tonight, and I cannot wait to go over all of our all the things tonight. So we're going to be talking about setting our intention and thinking in terms of forecasting this beautiful life that we all get the amazing experience of creating. And now, when I say that, I know it doesn't always feel like all of life's endeavors feel like, we've got choices in them or whatever. But I'm telling you, friends, we do. So, guys, do me a favor. Let's all take a good deep breath in together. Big exhale, and let's go to it. So, I wanted to talk real quick about this amazing trip I just took last week. I went to Costa Rica with a long-term client and dear friend now, Dr. Rose Moten. She has been featured here on my podcast. And we had 25 amazing women from across the country meet us at this amazing retreat, the Imaloa in again, Costa Rica. And it was such a beautiful experience to watch these women and to facilitate the healing and the growth happening for them. And so I was so inspired and actually was moving through my own observations of healing for myself. And so it was really, really cool to be able to see these women move through those days, their time there, and see this incredible change. And so we essentially all week long were really setting the intention for the healing that was happening, but then also setting the intention of what they were wanting to go back into and start to really create in their lives. And so to see these women come in exhausted and not really hold space for themselves necessarily, or just, tired. Life is not always easy, right? And so to have them come together in this beautiful experience and heal in all of the different, variations of ways that we were offering. We had a group gallery that I was offering, private sessions. We were going through lots of other different ways of healing for them, lots of yoga and sound therapy, which was just so cool, so therapeutic. And to see the smiles on these women's face the last day, there was one in particular, and during the whole week, I hadn't really had a lot of time to connect to her. And there was a solemnness in her expression. And it never really changed much. And this sweet woman friend now of mine, through those days of allowing herself to finally maybe access emotions that she had kind of kept down for so many years and allow herself to feel these things in a safe space where she was held and honored by 24 other women. By the way, these were psychologists and therapists. These were business owners. These were boss women, right? And how many of you, and I'm not just talking to my ladies, right? But how many of you men, women, we're juggling it all, right? Life does not always feel light and fluffy, and we don't always feel as though we have the space again to create the vision of the life that we wanted for ourselves, right? And so that week, being with them, teaching, and of course learning myself, going back, and this time allowing myself space, even with my teachings and my sessions, allowing myself even time to play and to have space there. I'm telling you, there was such transcendence that was happening. And so I want to let you all know that we all can create space in our life. We don't necessarily have to run off to Costa Rica and do that. Of course, that's amazing when we can. But if you are just needing a moment, I hope that my intention for you tonight is that you will start to realize and learn that you're important. And it's so beautifully, I believe, very vital for us to set the stage to take that space and time for yourself, to free yourself from the wants and the needs and the demands of your loved ones and your friends and the people around you, and try to find access to your innermost heart and ask yourself, what do I need? Where do I need to put my own mental space, my emotions, all of this? How do I allow myself to give myself a moment to recoup and refuel and refill my energy. So tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about intentions. We're going to be setting the stage for how to kind of start doing that for yourself. I hope many of you guys are returning podcasters. So again, thank you guys. And for those of you who are just now tuning in, my name is Cortney Kane Sides. I am your psychic medium, spiritual advisor, and I am always here with you every Wednesday on the Forbidden Knowledge Network. This is Cosmically Connected, my podcast. Thank you so much, guys. So again, I was having a conversation before we get into setting those intentions. I had a conversation with a dear friend this morning, taking a moment, sitting there thinking about how many are, not always looking forward. They're not always understanding that your mindset today is literally forecasting the next 5 minutes. It's not, giving you the space to start to create this moment, this existence. Okay. And so I love that I'm seeing lots of people going back and forth in the comments, my friend. This is a beautiful, fun place. Let's see. Let's see. We love everybody here. This is the Forbidden Knowledge podcast. This is Cosmically Connected on Forbidden Knowledge. And I appreciate all of you guys here. This is a very friendly place. And if you're wanting Billy is on all of the other evenings, but at 7 o'clock at 7 p.m. Central Time on Wednesdays, you will always catch me. So any of those of you asking or wondering, thank you again for being here. Jeremy, I especially want to say a big thank you to you. If you want to be here, that's great. We welcome you, my friend. And if not, you can move along. So thank you so much, my friend. Got it. So again, I was having this conversation this morning and sitting there realizing that so many of the things popping up into my life today, much of my work feels like play. There are very, very heavy moments. I sit in beautiful, heavy sessions all day long. I had a session earlier this morning with a client who lost a loved one last week, and it's very heavy information. But to hold space for another soul, another individual, was the intention I set so many years ago, was to be able to show up in this world, the heart, the light that we are, and hold space for one another. I am so grateful to be able to do that. And I said to this friend, I appreciate being able to finally realize, and even in the moment, experience this this awareness that, oh my goodness, I have been able to create this, all the while not even understanding exactly how it had to look. And so tonight I want to talk about setting those intentions and releasing again those attachments to the outcomes. You know what I mean? And so being able to have our own wherewithal, right? To be able to process and to be able to, all of these comments, guys, there's so many people being so ugly tonight, guys. I'm getting distracted seeing it. Let's see here. Gary says, let's go. Work should be fun and not make you feel like a slave or lower vibration. I agree, my friend. And Jeremy, let's see what Jeremy says. Jeremy says, I'm just saying the frequency is different, and that's not bad, but noticeable. Peace and blessings. Thank you, Jeremy, for being here. We literally appreciate everybody. I'm telling you that. And let's say this. It takes all kinds of energy, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It does. So it makes the world go round when we all get to shine our vibrant light to the world around us. And when we actually are looking around pointing fingers, let's talk about this. My intention when I show up anywhere I go is to take that good deep breath in and send love and energy out into the world around us. And guys, I always pray and hope that that's always what's coming right back to me. What I can understand too, right, is that some they don't resonate in that same space, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's about me. It's definitely, that is more so their issue, right? Very often what we see in others is typically a reflection in ourselves. Rhonda says, pay no attention to the haters. Thank you for spending your time loving on us. That we appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that too. So we are all each other's mirrors, by the way. And so again, that's another conversation I had with that dear friend today. I was talking about taking little mini moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe sometimes the career that I get to do today, and the amazing, people, colleagues that I get to work with, like Billy, Elizabeth, Doc B, King Simon, Nikki, all of them, and among many more. And I appreciate the space that this has given me. And let me tell you this, it started not 5 minutes ago, and it didn't start just even 3 years ago. It started, well, a lifetime ago, did it not? Right. So when I'm talking about this, guys, I hope you're thinking about the seeds that you've planted in your life. I hope you're thinking and putting your mindset back about, what were those intentions you were setting 10 years ago? Are you seeing the fruit of that today? Right? Where was it we were spending our time? With whom were we spending our energy with? By the way, guys, it doesn't mean that we're perfect, because we're definitely not. I have been through, again, trials and tribulations just like anybody else. And there are many times that we've all learned hard lessons, right? Because either we've seen that, ooh, that company doesn't really help produce the kind of life I'm really wanting, or we're needing, learning that we need to set boundaries with the world around us because maybe we haven't been, right? Right. Yeah. Everybody's saying energy. Hmm. Lena Wright says, I need to know how to stay positive in a room full of bad. Let's take a breath in, big exhale out. Even reading that, I show gratitude for the awareness of the bad. So when we see hard energy, I call it the good, the bad, and the ugly outside of ourselves, it's a reflection there. If we're seeing it, it's because maybe we're just even supposed to see it, to breathe in light, or breathe in the truth of it, and exhale light out to it. Sometimes a situation doesn't need our words. Sometimes it doesn't need our opinions. Sometimes it doesn't need any of it. Sometimes it just needs a witness. And what happens when we bear witness to these things around us? Sometimes when we witness these things, the learning lesson is we understand what not to do, or maybe what not to connect with, or maybe, and in that moment, breathing in and exhaling it out. Yeah, Jeremy says everything is a blessing. Jeremy, I agree with you. It's one of those things that if we're seeing it, it's meant for us. You know what I mean? And how many of you have gone through really, really, really hard? Hi, Dr. Strange. We love you in here, my friend. So many of you guys are always reoccurring, and I love it when I see you here. Thank you so much. How many of you have gone through really difficult things and then realize later that it was because of that hardship that you moved into a greater, career, or a greater appreciation of the relationship, right? That next relationship that is coming in. It's pretty amazing when we get past the hurdles and the hurts and pain and the bruises and scrapes of those moments, and we're able to look back. That hindsight is so fruitful, my friends. It's huge. It's so huge. And so I'm big on intention. And yes, I share my own stories. I share those things that I've moved through. And I hope that when I share that, you're not just hearing Courtney's whatever. I'm hoping that it relays a mirror image, or something that matches in your own energy and your own frequency, that maybe you're transcending right now too. You know what I mean? Very interesting. So I hope that you take the time and understand that setting those intentions for your life can be such a powerful practice. I remember and it was 2003, I was having massive panic attacks. And how many of you have panic attacks? You've been on, medication. By the way, stay on that stuff if it's working for you, and don't take my advice on any of that. I'm not a doctor, any of that. Okay. But I was somebody who I just did not want to take that. I remember going to the doctor, and I was having debilitating, again, panic attacks. And at that point, I was depressed. Something needed to change. And at that point, I found meditation. And there was a series of years where it went from meditation into yoga, into kind of branching out into really taking the ownership of my own healing. And what was so interesting is that I was working in the field of property management. And I absolutely loved that work. It was something that really fueled my soul. And what was so interesting is during that time, I was really taking ownership of my gifts and abilities. And I kept saying out loud to those around me that I wanted to work with something like meditation, but with like science, something with facts, because I love facts. I like proof. I want confirmation of spirit. I want all of that, right? And so, what was really interesting is I kept in my meditations just feeling and knowing that there was something out there that was going to find me, that I didn't necessarily have to go searching for, that it was going to find me. And in at this time, the company I was working for had sold. I'd made a pretty nice bonus because of it. And they were moving, so I was not going to be able to move with them at their new location. And so I was looking for a new position. And again, I kept saying out loud, and I think I was saying this out loud for about a year, that I wanted to work with like meditation or something like in that spiritual field, but with science, like something with science backing it. And I found this amazing neurofeedback company on Craigslist. Anybody remember Craigslist? Back before it was scary, or before it wasn't scary. And this 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 application, or this whatever, this the write-up literally sounded as if it was meant for me. I sent my resume in there, never heard a reply. 2 months later, I think I sent my resume, I faxed it, I walked it in there. And it wasn't until that probably fifth or sixth time that I went into that office and said, hey, you all need me. Here's my resume. And they finally called me back. It took about 2 months, and they called me and I was there. During that time, I worked with world neurologists, amazing world neurologist, or neurologists from across the planet, and neuro feedback providers and quantum physicists and teachers and healers really threw me into that confirmation of knowing that I needed during that time. That was the link between that spirituality and that science that I needed to take that step into the path that I wanted. What I'm saying, why I'm telling you this, is because it is so important for you to really watch what it is you're asking for, right? Everybody hears that song, Be Careful What You Wish For, because you just might get it. When we set those seeds into the universe, when we're saying yes to this is the way I'd love for it to go, it's so important for you to really watch that mindset. And also releasing the attachment to the outcome, right? Marcus says, have an agenda or become a part of someone else's. Dive into the depths of that statement and feel your way through it. I love that, Marcus. Thank you for that. Let's highlight that for you. Thank you, my friend. I agree. And so tonight, something that again helped me. And if you told me back then that I'd be taking ownership of my own innate gifts, and that is what I would be getting paid to do, my heart, my craft, my life, that I showed up every day, seeing my clients, speaking around the world, teaching at a beautiful retreat in Costa Rica, getting paid to do that. It's amazing, right? Writing books, painting. I'm in play all day. I get to show up and do this with you guys. You have the ability to do this. How many of you, give me emojis if you're here with me tonight and you're like, Cortney, that sounds great, but it almost feels impossible. Show me if that, or actually, don't do that. Don't do that. How many of you believe that that's possible? Give me emojis for that. Let's put energy into that. Let's set the intention. How many of you believe that you have what it takes to start to set and plant those seeds of intention? Jeremy says, how do you find the right teammates? My friend, Jeremy, I'm so happy you're here tonight. I'm so happy. Thanks for staying with us. It's a really good question. This is in my experience. You might find, makes me laugh, you might find the wrong teammates before you find the right teammates. And sometimes those wrong teammates were also the right teammate at that moment. How many of you get it, right? How many of you get that? So let's say it again. Sometimes those wrong teammates are the right teammates after the fact. Sometimes those wrong teammates get us on track for the correct teammates, right? And so, yes, I see lots of it. I've been solo. Yes. So divorced, many jobs, many of us who are creative, many of us who have many, when we're maybe, let's say, high frequency energies, we have a hard time working for other people. How many of you here, we're not claiming that necessarily, but I'm asking, how many of you here have a hard time working for somebody else? I'm raising my hand. Let's take a breath in, exhale out. Now, when I say have a hard time working for somebody else, I can be the most awesome, I can do anything, and I've made great money working for other people. I can get anything done, but I feel destroyed and empty on the inside. How many is with me? Look at that, guys. Look at that. Do me a favor, guys. Hit subscribe and hit like to this podcast tonight. If you're feeling like this is fire, let me know. Share this with your friends. It means the world to me. I hope that you guys will follow me on all the socials and things like that too. We're all new best friends. Jeremy, that means you too, my friend. We're picking on you tonight because we love you. But what I'm telling you is that it's so important for you to understand that these things that feel like frustrations is something that might even be polishing up your diamond, right? So these moments where you're like, oh my gosh, yet again, here it is, right? Here's another one I like. And we're condemning the, let's call it the wrong teammate yet again. Let's take a breathe in, big exhale out. What's interesting is if we can show gratitude for those people that we're like, okay, we now know that that does not reflect the energy I want to be with or in, whether that's a friend, a lover, family member, even. When we know more, we can choose something different, right? That's what that is. So those situations are fine tuning our higher vibration, right? Mm. Alicia says, a diamond is the hardest element in the earth. It is. That's why I also use that, because we are all, let's use, Elizabeth says just a gem. So she's got that diamond. That's her energy, right? That's what we all are. And so what most people are, taught to cover that diamond that they are, right? They're taught that maybe they're just the dirt. They don't realize that inside all of those different difficult experiences, even from childhood, my friends, we've been through them. We all have a long list, don't we, that we could list here tonight. But choosing, and this might be this might be your only connection to some that have maybe a higher vibrational mindset. And I mean this channel, this network. Forbidden Knowledge is great with trying to help you expand. Going to either meetups or even any of these events that Forbidden Knowledge offers. There's a tour going on. I'll be in Detroit with Billy and Elizabeth in June. And then, of course, we've got the Conscious Awards coming up. I'm an Aquarius. Yeah, I see that. What's everybody? Let us know what your sign is. I love it. Let's see that going on in the comments tonight. Put in your zodiac and then where you're from. Let's see that. Let's all make friends tonight, friends. So anyway, let's get back to the topic. So the intention. So setting our intention, the way that I started doing this is there's no massive, you have to do it in this way. But for me, I'm a feeler. I paint. I always say I paint. I feel so much that I feel in color. And so therefore, here's a client painting right here. And so thank you for that. Praise 7. Wow, that I appreciate. Listen, guys, I appreciate that. Never expected, always appreciated. I love you, my friend. Thank you so much for that. But I want to tell you that for me, it was painting. For me, really starting to understand that I could move through hard emotions through painting without maybe, if I didn't even or couldn't even articulate what I was feeling in my system, but I could at least move it through my body. That was something that helped me. Was painting, particularly finger painting, was always something really beautiful. And so I want you to understand that having that outlet is a beautiful thing to do. So if you've got something that can be creative for you, that's awesome. Again, meditation, having a notebook by your side, and start to, even if you have to be aware of, like, excuse my language, the shit that doesn't serve you throughout your days, right? Look at those Libras, Aries, Geminis. I love it. And so if you're starting to watch, and lots of people are negatively focused, right? So some find that it's easier to figure out what doesn't serve them rather than what it is they're really wanting. How many of you have struggled because you know you want something to change, but you don't even know what in the world that is? Raise your hand, give me an emoji. When I say raise your hand, give me an emoji right here. Take a breath in. Anything I observe, whether it's, ooh, I don't always love that. So back to the woman who had the comment about what do you do with the, the people in the room where you're like, you don't like that bad energy. When I notice that, from the tip of my toe, I show gratitude for every ounce within my system. And in that pause of that breath, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you for the awareness that is mine. Thank you for being a teacher on my path, whomever it is, however many it comes through with, the mirrors. And I exhale that energy out, turning that in my mind to gold. That's what works for me. You don't have to do that. Use and do whatever works for you. But for me, even within my breath, guys, moment by moment, I'm setting my intention. And in my mind, that gold energy consists of nothing but the highest, truest, or the best that will manifest upon me now. And I've started to use the word that will manifest upon me now, or manifest suddenly. I started to use that word. Tim Story, I grabbed that from him. He's wonderful. If you haven't seen him, he's amazing. He'll be also at the award show this summer. Anyway, so using that is a really, really great thing. Many of us don't, we also feel like we don't have time. We're running in this crazy rat race. You're late to work. You walk in and Becky's already looking at you crazy, putting reports on your desk. I'm teasing. You walk out and the dog shredded my experience, your AT&T lines yet again in the yards. Take a breath in. Love the doggies hard. Set the intention that this is just a human-like thing. It's a bummer. It's annoying, but man, we have beautiful dogs. We've got a beautiful this. You've got your backyard. You're happy and you're joyful. Don't let these little things ruffle your feathers. When you start to say thank you, but no thank you to the energy that no longer serves you, and in that moment, recognize the stuff that does serve you and you show gratitude for that in that same way. My friends, that breath is your intention. It doesn't, I love vision boards and I help people do those things, right? But it's also, you don't need anything but your breath and you, right? Moment by moment to check your energy, right? Not to cause judgment for yourself, not to have judgment for the world around you. So we're not pointing fingers either. What I try to do, again, we're humans, we're not always perfect with it, but when I see something even outside of myself and I notice an energy, I'm not typically quick to say, well, look at that. Usually, again, we're human. But what I do is I notice that I take a breath in, and on that pause, when it's something like that, my first thought is, ooh, I again show gratitude for the awareness that is mine, because I know I'm seeing it for a reason. It's not just to see what they're moving through, but it's because maybe there's a likeness in my energy. Maybe I can learn from viewing this. There's something in it, my friends, right? Somehow we've said yes to this in our day, right? And so in that moment, I then say to myself, what does this mean for me? Now, guys, you have heard me say that over and over again, especially when we're talking about intuition, when we're talking about receiving, signs and symbols from our guides and angels. But that phrase is a phrase I use with so many things, even when I see hard stuff outside of myself. Yeah. I love it. I will put the well, let me see. Let me type it. You just got to bear with me typing. Thank you. Thank you. I always say it 3 times. Thank you for the awareness. Thank you for the awareness that is mine. And look at me, all the airtime that is mine. for being a teacher on my path, asking nothing. I know some of you have this memorized, asking nothing but the highest, the truest, or the best to manifest upon us. Now, guys, I say that all day long in my head, all day long, moment by moment in my breath. I used to be massive on journaling and writing these things down and getting confirmation. I think that's amazing. That serves you in so many different ways. Our life, my friends, is our greatest development course. I'm telling you. And we all have these gifts and abilities. What I want you to understand is that when you start to set that intention with your breath moment by moment, you cannot help but see your life start to go in that higher trajectory. When I'm saying that, friends, do not get that twisted. That doesn't mean that you don't get a flat tire. It doesn't mean that, oops, I got to go. My oil's at 8%. I better hurry and make an appointment. It doesn't mean that somebody doesn't get hurt. It doesn't mean that life things don't happen. Take a breath in with me. Even as I say it, I show gratitude for the awareness, but I move that through my system because I never allow that energy to stay in my vessel. Moment by moment, breath, that golden energy clearing that space for us, guys. That's source. You're connecting to your highest, most self in only the way that you can. It's amazing to go get sessions from people. And, I have clients that come to me and I love them. I love giving them, I love providing that. But really, my core heart is to show you that you have the same thing, right? I always want to know that when you all see something within me, it's because it's actually within you as well. Isn't that the same for all of us? Right? When we start to really admire, we're like, oh my goodness, what a beautiful gift that person has. Take a breath, friends. Show gratitude for the witness within you, from the who you are today, from your highest self. Show gratitude. Because I'm telling you, there were so many things that I was noticing in my life back then where I was looking at things that were living and doing what I do today for a living that I remember dreaming of and feeling like it was so far out of my realm of understanding. Okay. And as I look around, my mouth is still like in shock because I'm so beautifully grateful at the breath. Guys, the breath that is free, the breath that you have access to, that source, that God, that light, that universe, that energy. When I say that to you, you get to decide how that looks for you. So when I say that also, I also give you the grace and space and peace for you to understand that if that does not resonate with you, ooh, I just got chills down my leg, then that doesn't resonate with you. And that's cool. That's your truth. And I honor that. So what works for one does not necessarily have to work for another, but I can tell you in my way that's how it's happened. There's been lots of moments through life where life got ugly. Let me tell you, where life looks like it's about to crumble. How many of you have been there, right? Where you feel like, oh my gosh, everything as I've ever known it is about to change. It's about to fall apart, right? But what happens when we move through those experiences, typically when we're fully through those experiences, the lessons are extremely usually better than what they were. You have been put into a degree of maybe new people. Let's go back to that question that Jeremy asked earlier. And I was so grateful that you asked the question about, I don't even remember what it was, but it was about people essentially. So you asked about like, how do you find the team? How do you find the teammates? Let's say the teammates in life, right? Ooh, Marcus said, see the bad, you get the bad. See good, you get what comes from it. That's right. So what I found, and I want to use this before I go into that, I remember and I reference it a lot, but it's because he was a huge teacher on my path. But my ex-husband used to say, when I would talk about, I would love to write a book, he would be like, nobody's ever, you know what, you're never going to write a book. That's impossible. Be like that. No way. And then I'd say, and I had a book that was published, not self-published, published in 2011. And then I would say, well, I want to do sessions, or I want to speak, or I want to do this. And he'd be like, his first was like, nobody's ever going to offer to do that. What I learned through him, as I say it, guys, I take that breath in. Thank you. Thank you. I show gratitude for the awareness that is mine. Thank you to him, to the self that he was, to his highest self, for being a teacher on my path, asking nothing but the highest, truest, or the best to manifest upon us now. What I learned was those weren't his limitations, or those weren't my limitations. Those were his. So when that happened, I started to learn. I would breathe in, and sure, it would hurt. How many of you guys understand this? Right? Sure, that would hurt. That didn't feel good. I didn't like it. But what I learned was that, wow, I'd never let it stop me, because I continued to craft and to learn and to paint and to write and to show up for every moment of my life. And I would breathe in, all the while praying that that person would get it. And they didn't. And yeah, and so what happens is those, relationships will end if they are meant to end. Mine did. And it was, many years later when I found my person. But every little step away, or step from that, oh my goodness, I'm so thankful for those experiences, because what it helps me is every time my person shows up with space and grace and is my biggest cheerleader and all of that, I'm like, I go into that same thing that I even said then. I take that good deep breath in, and I hold the space for that beautiful, and I set that intention for myself and for Ethan. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the awareness that is mine. Thank you for being a teacher on my path, asking nothing but the highest, truest, or the best to manifest upon us now. It's incredible. It's incredible. And I believe that when you're emanating that kind of source, that golden light, not just to the world around you, but you're living it and you're breathing it moment by moment, guys, that's the intention you're setting for it all. And you don't have to necessarily have exact specifics that you're wanting to do. I think it can be very beautiful for you to get specific, like where would you like to be? Where would you love to live? So again, those vision boards are really handy. Writing those things down and making and creating a list is a beautiful thing. Setting that intention, then taking that breath in, releasing the attachment to how, who, when, all the things, but really noticing the feelings that would come about you once that came into your life. And making sure that you feel that today, right? Making sure that you understand that all of that energy that for you feel like that's forward, feel like that's out of maybe even reach, right? You might not even understand how that happens. It's not up to you. You don't have to figure that part out. Just be in the energy of. And I say that to also tell you that the right people will start to come into your life. And there was a saying, I just saw it just a couple days ago, and it said, your family, stop being upset because your family's not supporting you or this or that. And it said something like strangers will support and invest in you and all of this. And I remember going through so many seasons. How many of you are with me? Give me an emoji if you're going to understand what I'm about to say. How many of you I can't even speak, how many of you have gone through really, really lonely seasons in your life, right? Yeah. How many of you, I can't even speak, how many of you have gone through, again, and you might be going through a really lonely season now. Give me an emoji if that's you. Brother Mert says, I really appreciate, oh, it went up for me. I love it. I really appreciate the individuals in this chat. And Courtney, I don't have these conversations, and I yearn for a deep connection, not for frivolous things or behavior. I love that, my friend. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you found connection here. Guys, I have a VIP inner circle where we meet twice a month. So think about, you've got Wednesdays podcast here for an hour. And if you're in that VIP inner circle, it's less than a coffee a month. It's $11.11 a month. And you can go to CourtneyKaneSides.com, and I'll put that here in your chat. And come and become a VIP inner circle member. We have actually one tomorrow. So it's an hour and a half where we meet. You actually get to see not just me, but everybody in it. And the bonds and the community from those people from around the world is incredible. So if you're looking for like-minded people, head over there and we'd love to have you. I'd love to have you. Let's connect. But what I want to tell you is that it's so important to know that your people will vibrationally find you. That frequency of energy will find you. Many of my soul sisters, my soul family, my soul brothers have been and come to me because of me finding my heart through my work and my craft. So what I'm telling you is, Elizabeth is not just a friend, she's like my sister, Billy, family. We're all family in this Forbidden Knowledge Network. And that's not fake, guys, that's real. And it's because many of us, and we've all found each other from across the world, right? So many of the people that I work with today are some of my very closest friends too. Again, my friend Rose that I taught at her retreat last week, she was a client for 10 years. And then we became so close. And it's because you're going to find those like-minded individuals and become not just colleagues and friends and clients, and you refer people back and forth, but you essentially become family. That's soul family, my friends. And it does feel very lonely. Take a breath in with me. We show gratitude for that feeling and for that awareness, exhaling that energy out until it morphs. And I remember it probably felt like a good 6 or 7 years. I don't know if you've got any more Aquariuses out there. I'm an Aquarius and I am really good at like, whoop, skirt, nope, right out here. I'm fine, I'm fine. But learning to access and heal a lot of my own wounds, traumas, things like that, you start to understand who you can trust and who you can come in contact with. And not just that, guys, you can set boundaries. And the friends that value your boundaries are your friends that those are the ones. Those are your family members, my friends. I'm telling you. Ariana says, literally me now in my life growing up, the road to a beautiful healing journey and life can be pretty lonely. Definitely when all the people you've had around you were no good / toxic. Yes, take a breath in. Showing gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the awareness that is mine. Thank you for being a teacher on my path, asking nothing but the highest truth or the best to manifest upon us now. I'm just telling you that every moment when I have a thought that I'm like, that doesn't serve me. I show gratitude and what I'm showing gratitude is I'm showing gratitude that I know that doesn't resonate with my heart and who I am, guys. These are moment by moment setting of intention. Watch your life change. Do me a favor, give it 30 days. Give it 30 days. And I be a skeptic about it, by the way, and just see if you might just feel better. You might have a lighter energy to you. And what will happen is you might even have moments where you've got to set boundaries with those family members. But because you're doing that, it might ruffle feathers here and there, but they'll, in the end, I almost said they'll respect you for it, but that might also not be true. That might not be true. We all have tough relationships. And sometimes when we change, it's not easy for everybody, especially if there have been patterns in families where people have put up with certain things and there's finally a break in the system where many of us are the ones stopping it, by the way, right? And it doesn't mean that it has to be such it could be covertly toxic. Does that make sense? It could be covertly toxic, codependent. I was raised in a Southern Baptist home, which, I loved a lot of the way that I was raised. My parents were wonderful people. But there were, I was raised to everything had to be perfect and all of this and that. And it took a long time for me to realize that no, my messy self, my normal me is perfectly perfect just as it is. Right. And so your voice can be heard. And, I do watch how I say things. And when I say watch, I make sure it's coming from a place of heart, love, respect, and integrity. And those are really important to me. And so making sure that when you're starting to set the intentions of the kinds of people that you want to be in your life, Guys, this is a big part of it, is making sure that we're doing the work as well. We can't expect somebody to be so amazing and hold space for us, but then be a jerk, right? It's not going to vibrationally match, right? Yeah. Jeremy says, after you get past it, the problem seems childish. Yeah, often it does. Something that helps me is in my Ethan and I, my fiance, we just spoke about this a couple days ago, and something. Now listen, I have a different perspective, I think, than many, and I also understand that my perspective does not have to be everybody else's, and so I really honor that with all of my the people in my life. And I see people who have lost loved ones all day long. I've experienced lots of loss in my life, so I am very careful with the words that come out of my mouth. And I think I've been like that since I was a little girl, though. It's just I don't say mean things, and I might say truthful things, and I pray that that doesn't hurt somebody. But I don't ever text those things. I always make sure that if we have to have a what could possibly be a hard conversation, that we're with each other, at least Zoom or FaceTime, so that you can at least feel me, you can hear me, you can see my facial expressions, and I can see yours, so I can also see how somebody's taking something, and I point those things out. So I have, in order to feel safe and secure in any relationship I have to have that clearness. And most of the people in my life, they they today allow me to do that. And it wasn't always that way. I was taught that if you voice certain things, that sometimes that was rude, or I always thought that people who were really direct were not kind. And I work very hard at wanting just to make sure that somebody knows where my heart and my soul is. And so, what's interesting to me is that I do think of that like a, what is this going to matter in a year or in 5 years or in 10 years? And so, poor Ethan, I look here at this beautiful table that he bought me Valentine's Day a couple of years ago, and I have paint on it. And now it's acrylic, it will come off. And I think about, I have to, come and scrub that off. But part of me thinks also this is maybe not not good. But I think, oh, one day when I'm gone, when I'm not of this earth anymore, when I'm in spirit, they'll love my paint. They'll think it's so sweet, right? And so I always think in terms of like, what if this was our last moment? Would it really matter? Right? Let's take a breath in. Big exhale out. Would it matter? And I'm telling you, what's cool to me is understanding that and also finding love and heart and value in it. It makes life so much more enjoyable. Now, I think it can be annoying. I know, I'm sure I can be annoyed to some, because I don't sweat the small stuff, and maybe I should, right? And so that's why it also takes all different kinds. So I love and value um, others mindsets, and Ethan's much more let's use the word particular, and all of that. And I love that, because all I have to worry about is picking up my own stuff, not necessarily his, right? I see it. And so I want you, yeah, Jeremiah says your paint is your signature. It is. I was painting. Look, I have it on my hand today. Yeah, I was painting all day today. So these hands had it everywhere. And so, yeah, it is my signature. Almost every piece of clothing is on. But listen, with that, with my heart, with my word, with my breath, I set my intention for the day, for my life. And so I want you to understand that you can get into a huge, beautiful practice of writing those intentions down and forecasting your life. Or sometimes you can just sit in the moment of awareness and breathe in and ask yourself, is my mind in alignment with where it is I see myself going? We, we went to a gym today. We just joined a gym, and this morning we were sitting in there and we did the little hydro massage thing together. And my immediate reaction was to pick up my phone and start working. Okay, answering a text or emails or doing social stuff. And I got on and I thought, nope, Courtney, you take this 10 minutes, put that darn phone down. Put that phone down, and I just sat there in the moment, setting that intention. And what I started to do was I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about the podcast tonight. But after I was done, I was like, oh, hello. That's what I was doing. But while I was laying there, I sat there and I was sitting there thinking, and I was smiling. I was starting to just show gratitude for, hello, it's a Wednesday at 9 o'clock and I get to go to the gym. I get to set my calendar. I get to set my schedule. Ethan's calendar is aligning where we get to do those things together. That feels like such beautiful moments. And so when you have those moments coming in, my friends, you starting to just show gratitude. And guys, even if it's not in your life today, but you're seeing others reflect that towards you, not being like, "Ugh, why does that always work out for them? Or why do they have something?" No, it's called taking that good deep breath in. When you see something outside of yourself that you're like, oh man, that's beautiful. When you show gratitude for it, you're in that space of an alignment. You're in that vibration. You're one with that vibration. That's not envy. That's not jealousy. That's oneness with the creator. You're creating moment by moment with your breath. So while I sat there and laid there, I was sitting there thinking and envisioning the time that we were having together. I was envisioning our home, our life, career, our family, our children, and just in that moment of appreciation, I know I was even smiling. That's, guys, that's when you know that you're in the energy and the vibration of that forecasted feeling. It's when your body becomes more at ease. And it's because you're feeling and allowing yourself to feel that in the present moment, even when it feels like it's too hard to grasp. By the way, as I say this to you, I don't mean sugarcoating the hard stuff at all. You fully feeling whatever season you're in is so vitally important. So even if you're moving through the mud and the caked on earth upon that diamond, if you're in that phase, my friend, take a breath in. Show gratitude that you are even just simply in awareness of that. And you know that nothing but the highest, the truest, or the best is going to manifest upon you, that you are going to move through this state because you know what's underneath, you know what's inside, and that you're the diamond. Something that has helped me is making sure, you hear what, and you've heard me say it too, I think, putting the mask on ourselves, the flight attendants, right? You put the mask on yourself before you even start to put the mask on your children. I have two daughters and a soon to be stepson, who I love all of them so dearly. And I think that when we as parents, we get so used to, by the way, this has been me too, by the way. We want to tell them how to do things and this and that. It's our way, whatever, right? And very often, our best example is how they see us move through hardships, how they see us garner and gain back that integrity, even in taking accountability when we've messed up or we've done wrong. Again, none of us are perfect. And we can show up for them. And I always pray that they see that. And there's a beautiful connection here when we're all here together, right, in this life. But if not, the words and the wisdom and the life that they will be able to go back and witness that you've lived, guys, is really our calling card of our soul, is it not? They get to go back and say, wow, everybody thought, I'm talking about myself, everybody thought she was crazy, but look at the life she created. It wasn't like anybody else's around her, right? Think about that, my friends. How many of you feel as though people don't understand you, your family, your friends? Take a breath in. But you know that you're on target, or your heart is maybe leaning towards a direction that you know is the right direction for you. Brother Mard said, I felt that. It's one of those things where, yeah, low of one changed me. I don't know what that is, my friend. Dr. Strange says, people think that I'm crazy, but they love me for it. See, there you go. Yeah. It's one of those things where not everybody's going to understand you. And it's okay that maybe we're not for everybody, and also loving and valuing where they are too, because they're at a different angle. My dear friend Dr. Rose, she stated at this retreat, and I've heard her say this before. When she said it, I was like, golly, it's so true. You know, just because you have difference of opinions doesn't mean that either of you are wrong. So say we're all sitting here in this room, okay? So if I'm sitting on one end of the room and you ask me, what does this look like? Well, in front of me right now, I have, there's a wall, curtains, there's a TV over there, there's a camera in front of me, I have a computer here, phone here, right? And if, say my child was in here and I was like, Anderson, what does that look like over there? She'd say, it looks like a door, looks like I see, everybody has a different perspective, and where everybody's sitting in the same room, but every direction they're looking looks different. But which one's lying? So just because somebody around us, and even in the same family, right? This is the hard thing, guys. I know you're thinking of that family member. I'm thinking of one too, and I love them. But it's really, we want to argue semantics. We want to argue our own way, but they're looking at it from a different direction. And maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. What I often say, especially in my line of business, is just because I'm there, this or whatever, doesn't mean that I'm their spiritual advisor or whatever. Many of you are coaches, you're teachers, you're leaders, you're doing things, and you're wanting to express your natural innate gifts, but your family, your friends don't know you in that way. Take a breath in. And you're simply healing and finding new access to it yourself. So you're learning along the way, right? So I want you to give yourself grace and understand that maybe you're not that for them. Maybe you're simply their brother or sister or cousin or aunt or whatever, right? It doesn't mean that your view is wrong. So you coming back to you and you taking that time out to sit and feel, whether it's on a hydration massage water bed like I did today, and you're sitting there collecting your thoughts, really being in the present moment of gratitude, of the good, the bad, and the ugly, being one with that breath, and you forecasting the feeling and the direction of the way that you see this life going. That breath, moment by moment, is your intention. So watch where your mindset is, because you're in charge. You are one with the creator. You are the creator. And it is about you showing up for you in order for the world to start to be able to even show up for you, that you've got to start to reflect that with what you're wanting to see. Dr. Strange says, if you live under a rock, then light doesn't exist to you. Oh, take a breath with that one. You have to see the light yourself to believe it, and do that. Wow. To do that, you must change and leave the rock. And oh my goodness, my friends, how hard is that? How many of you have left the rock? Give me an emoji right now. Pray 7 says they think I'm crazy. I love it. I understand. I understand. Been there, done that. I had an aunt who, she was the one that really, I want to say, changed my life. She and my godmother showed me something different. My parents too, but they both passed when I was quite young. But think about the people in your life that showed you something different. They're showing you something different so that you can see that example outside of yourself. Start to go back when you saw that something, ooh, that doesn't work for me, or I don't like that. If that was something your parents did, whatever, start to backtrack and start to rewrite and heal those different sides of yourself, or that story. You understand? You're going to be amazed of the growth of the heart and the energy that you start to step into, because your life is going to change. And I want you to, let's use Tim Story's words, I want you to expect it to be suddenly. I want you to understand that it doesn't have to take a long time. We've all been taught that you've got to do the work, you've got to do the job, then at retirement, and then we can lay down and relax. No, you can do that today. You just have to get creative. How are we going to do it? Start to be in the energy of what does that feel like for me? Guys, please do me a favor. Run over to Instagram, follow me at Cortney Kane Sides Medium. It is the same on, I'll put it down here for you, on Facebook. That would mean the world to me. I want you also, let's see, there, that's my handle. Let's see it. There you go. So that's my handle. So do me a favor, go follow me there. If you want to join that VIP Inner Circle, guys, that VIP Inner Circle is so beautiful. We meet tomorrow night at 6 o'clock for an hour and a half. We do that twice a month. And when you are in that inner circle, you also get the chance to win a free session. So we raffle off 2 free 30 minutes or 2 30-minute sessions. And so you get a chance for a free session too, which is always, always fun. But I love you guys. I appreciate it. These conversations, guys, is us trying to find our team. So listen, I appreciate all of you that are here. You come on every Wednesday, but I appreciate you newcomers. I also appreciate you newcomers who are like, what in the world is this? And you help also polish my diamond even further. So I hope that that's what we're all doing for each other, is reflecting back that light to one another and to the world around us, and take that space and time and watch where your mindset is. And with your breath, moment by moment, you get to dictate how it goes. You get to create this life of yours. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. Do me a favor and share this. And make sure you also follow me on my own private YouTube page. It's Courtney. It's Cosmically Connected with Cortney Kane Sides. I love you all. I'll see you later. Happy Wednesday.